and to do these kinds of things, to talk to people about this as well. I wasn't always the healthiest guy. I did everything on paper, correct? I worked really hard, I trained really hard. I wasn't somebody who carried a lot of body fat. I looked the part, but my body internally was falling apart. And at about 16 years old, I got diagnosed with autoimmune disease. And it made me question everything that I was doing. All my coaches were like, train harder, push harder, diet harder. All the things that on paper you're supposed to do, I was doing. And then my body fought back in a really bad way. My gland in my neck, I woke up one morning, it was like this big. All my glands in my body were really swollen. I couldn't swallow. It hurt to swallow. And no matter how much sleep I would get or rest, as the doctor would tell me to get, nothing was helping me feel better. My mum, I'm Lebanese background. My mum is a full-blown Arab, so she freaked out when she saw my neck and took me straight to the hospital, said to the whole hospital that I was dying. And I said to her, Mum, it's all right, let's just get a scan and see what's going on. Nothing was there. It was just my glands were really inflamed and swollen. And then it made me question everything I was doing. All the medication I was told to take, all the things I was told to do. I thought to myself, if I've followed everything to the letter and this is what's happened, clearly something isn't right in my body. So that's why I dove deep into like a hole of holes you could think of when it came to education. From about 16 to about 22, I was good. So let's go from 17 to about 22. For that 5-year period, I was good. From 22, 23 to now 34, let's call it 32, I fell back into that negative health again. And there's a cost to entrepreneurship that people don't actually tell you about. Everyone thinks you're owning your own business, you're cashed. Running your own business, you're good, life's good, you're rolling around in a nice car. That's not always the case for most entrepreneurs. People don't see what we do behind closed doors. People don't see the stress, the sleepless nights, the hard work that we put in. It takes a hit on our health, physically and mentally. So for me, one of the biggest reasons why I put this together and why I educate people on good health is because I never want to see anybody go through poor health because of what you could potentially lose because of having poor health. Who here has got family members that have passed away from health conditions? People that you know, any friends, anybody, yeah? This is a big reason for this is because I've lost friends, family, that should still be here with me today. And I'm very passionate about this because if I can help people, like I said at the start, learn one new thing, implement it to your life, give you better quality of life, job done. Do you get what I mean? Now, what today you're going to walk with is a fairly good understanding as to these 6 things. It's not going to go for a crazy long period of time. I do speak about these things. Feel free to pop your hand up and ask a question whenever you want. It's not a one-way street here, it's a two-way street. So if any of you have questions about anything that you might want to know about in a bit more detail, you can either ask me on the spot or you can pull me aside after and you can ask me more questions. I'm always happy to help. We're going to learn about why your body is inflamed, the gut-inflammation connection, how one bad night of sleep can destroy a lot of your stress in your body, the stress cortisol loop, and how to measure and fix your inflammation as well. And if you are open to this, even looking at your own personalized first step with improving the things that you want to improve. Now, most of the people do the eat reasonably well, exercise most times. They know that their sleep matters, but unfortunately, nothing feels right, and it still feels like you're fighting with your own body. Do you guys kind of resonate with that a little bit? Anybody in the room? Yeah? That's not abnormal. It's quite normal to feel that way, right? We have 2 types of inflammation. This is what causes these feelings of just, even though you're doing everything right on paper, something doesn't feel right in your body. This is one of the reasons that this happens. We've got acute inflammation. We need some kind of inflammation in our body. So the acute, the short-term, the protective, it's our body's immune system. It's how it's able to respond to any kind of infection that we have, or virus, or any kind of cut or wound. This is how our body heals. We have what we term as an inflammatory response. Moving to the other side of the screen, when we look at chronic inflammation, think of the word chronic as long-term. So when we have long-term inflammation, it's silent, it's persistent, there's no obvious injury, and our immune system essentially is just staying on and heightened the entire time. It's linked to things like cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity, depression, and also accelerated aging. Anybody know of anybody that's got any kind of CVD, cardiovascular disease, or type 2 diabetes? Yeah? A lot of the time, type 2 diabetes in particular isn't a food thing, as you're made out to feel like it is. That's one little link or aspect to the problem. The deeper root cause problem is that chronic inflammation. I've reversed type 2 diabetes for countless people, and one of the biggest things that we focus on is less on restricting their food and more on improving their lifestyle. Right? Carbohydrates are never the problem. If you've been told cut your carbs, go find somebody else to talk to about your food. because you've been given the wrong information. If you've been told, hey, let's get your body working better so you can actually metabolize your carbs, for example, that's the better kind of advice, because now we're working at a root cause deeper system level, which improves how everything works. So your energy is better, your recovery is better, your sleep's better, your focus is better, your mood's better. The things that are important to you are better. You guys with me? Yeah? I'm getting some nods, I'm happy, this is good. Now, when we look at the 3 pillars that I always focus on, we did speak a little about information, but information is heavily linked to stress. So let's keep that in the stress bucket. The middle part of the screen, sleep. When we look at poor sleep, okay, 2 ways, quantity and quality. You can get 10 hours of sleep, for example, still wake up feeling like crap. Anybody in the room sleep 7 to 8 hours but still wake up feeling a bit off, like you haven't slept? That's because your quality of sleep isn't ideal or isn't good. So the goal is to get you to sleep deeper. There's ways you can go about that, okay? So when you look at poor sleep, it does raise inflammation, it does reduce your recovery, and it doesn't have to be recovery from a workout. It can simply be recovery from your day. Yeah, there's stress that goes on in our day constantly, right? If you guys are behind screens all day and managing 10 different things, working off 3 different phones, that's stressful. Your body needs to recover from that kind of stress. This is where sleep is really important, okay? And the last one here, it makes it harder to lose body fat or even just simply feel your best. If that's something that is important to you, look at sleep as a mechanism to use to help you along the way. Gut health. Now, most people don't talk about gut health. I love gut health because gut health is a problem with any autoimmune disease in the world. Gut health is one of the things linked to all the things associated with chronic inflammation as well. You fix your gut health, you improve your brain health, you improve your stress management, you improve how your body responds to the food you eat, you improve your energy, your recovery, your strength, all the things that are important to you, especially as we get older. Who here wants to get weaker as we get older? Some people are going to say yes, really? Who here wants to get more sick as you get older? Nobody wants to, right? Who here doesn't give a shit about what happens when they get older? Thank you, I'm glad none of you said that. Sort of? I said that just for a reaction, so I'm glad somebody reacted. And the reason why I get a little bit kind of excited about this stuff is because 70 to 80% of your immune tissue lives in your gut. Imagine how much better you could feel by simply improving your gut health. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy like going on a detox, like you're made to believe, or drinking like 5 liters of water every day, or doing all these drastic things. It's just small little things that you can do that have a huge payoff for you. Now, when we look at the gut inflammation axis, this is kind of a little bit sciencey, but what this is highlighting for all of you is how it actually starts. Has anybody ever heard of the term autoimmune disease? Yep. Anybody know of anybody that has one? Does anybody in the room have one? I had one, I resolved it. It was the worst feeling in the world, right? There's different types of autoimmune diseases. They can present on people based on their genetic makeup. So one type is like a thyroid condition. A lot of women suffer from that. Now, another type is it's the umbrella called Epstein-Barr virus. An example of that is glandular fever. Okay, that's what I suffered from. So it always kind of stays in your body, right? But as long as you manage this kind of stuff, you're really going to have a better chance of keeping it at bay per se. Now, one of the things that happens is you have what we term as a gut imbalance. That's the first start. So the gut imbalance is the good bacteria and the bad bacteria in our system. When there's too much bad, not enough good, you get this what we term dysbiosis or this gut imbalance. Leading on, you start to suffer from what's termed as leaky gut. Anybody heard of that before? Leaky gut syndrome? No? If none of you have, I'm not surprised. If you have, I would be surprised. I've studied this, right? Intestinal permeability is talking about your small intestine. So as you guys know, you have your large intestine, you have your small intestine. They're both important, but the small intestine is even more important because that's the part of your body that keeps all the good stuff that you consume in and keeps the waste out. When we have that permeability, when there's an increase in that permeability, there's these little finger-like looking things that make up your part of your small intestine. They're called microvilli. So they're designed to be really, really tight like this, right? And when we have this perspective here like this, when they're tight like this, all the good stuff stays in for our body. So all the good nutrients, all the things we're eating, that's doing really well. Our body absorbs that stuff really well. And that role of these microvilli is to keep the bad stuff out. When that permeability increases, toxins enter the bloodstream. So when we start to go from being tight to starting to loosen through this dysbiosis, toxins can come into our bloodstream. Yeah? Does anybody want to know what could cause that dysbiosis or could cause the buildup of bad bacteria? Anybody want to throw anything out there? Think about anything that we could eat or drink. What else? Sugar. What else? Excess sugar. Alcohol. Yeah. What else? Vaping. What else? Smoking. Excessive smoking. What else? Could be excessive medication use. You know, people take Panadol. I know a guy that takes a painkiller every day just because. I'm like, but why? He goes, because I can't sleep and I feel like I'm just so. I go, but you take a painkiller every day? Like, you know, and they called me up last night. I kid you not. Bro, I got really mad anxiety. I just had one. I don't know what's going on with my body. I said, I'll tell you what's going on with your body. And I gave him a whole spiel about this, right? And so I said to him, one of those things in particular was when you have all these excess things that cause this dysbiosis, it causes this. You may not feel anything right now. Fast forward 12 months of doing the same stuff you're doing right now, you could start to cause this problem. And then if you look at the end, systemic inflammation, that's the main kind of umbrella. And then how it presents on everybody is different. Are you guys with me? So how it could present on me could be joint aches. How it could present on the next person is excessive bloating. The next person could be excessive diarrhea, for example. I know it's a bit too much information. It could be that, right? The next person could have a full-blown autoimmune disease with their thyroid out of whack. The next person could have arthritis. Yeah? So it just depends on everybody. And there's a whole thing I could talk about when it comes to your genetic makeup and how that determines stuff, but that's just a whole nother tangent in itself. But to keep it nice and simple for all of you, it starts from what we do. No one's born with bad health. We put bad health onto ourselves from our daily choices, right? And if there's nothing about what I'm saying is clicking to you, just think about the people that you love and care about the most and how you'd like to be better, if not for yourself, just for them. And that's it. And that's not designed to make you feel guilty or to pull out your emotional strings. It's just it's designed to get you to understand that your daily actions have a bigger influence on things than just ourselves. Does that make sense? Now, when we look at poor sleep, 28% of Australians don't get adequate sleep. That number is starting to rise more and more. And that was based off a study done in 2016. So that was over 10 years ago, right? That's the only study today that tested the amount of Australians per se. The rest of them test like globally. But I'll guarantee you that number's gone up over the last 10 years. If you look at the middle part of the screen, if you have one night before sleep, you're 5.6 times more likely to get a cold or get sick or get any kind of infection. And if you look at the left side of the screen, you're 40% higher. So your inflammatory markers raise up 40% more just from one night of poor sleep. Yeah?
So you're saying 5 hours or less is not good?
Yeah. Ideally, 6.5 to like and more is obviously ideal. If you're watching Netflix at night, it's very easy. Turn Netflix off, go to bed. If you're working late, I can't really help that unless you talk to your boss. If you're somebody who struggles to fall asleep, like you lay in bed but you toss and turn, there's things that you can do to improve that. If you fall asleep, don't wake up constantly throughout the night, there's things you can do to improve that as well that aren't too difficult. Now, when we look at chronic stress and how it keeps inflammation active, we have a perceived threat. This is if somebody's in danger, for example. So we're crossing the road, a car's flying, what do we do? We run, right? So we have a perceived threat, we have a cortisol spike, our immune system breaks down some of that fat in our cells to give us energy to go. So our mass inflammation stays active and then we go. That's to evade danger. But imagine we get the same messages being sent through our body and everyone's just sitting down here listening to this guy talk. That's what's happening when you have that chronic stress constantly, right? Your body's fighting everything around you because of this perceived threat that is there. But in reality, there's no threat in this room, right? This is what happens when you don't actually understand how to manage things just a little bit better for yourself long term. So you've got this, our cells stop responding to cortisol's anti-inflammatory signal. So cortisol is not the bad person here. Cortisol is quite important, right? But when the cells stop responding, there's a deeper problem that we need to fix up, and it's this, okay? We got elevated cortisol that impairs your gut lining integrity. Remember I was talking about the microvilli? So when that's elevated a lot and for a long period of time, that protection starts to do this again, and then we get this problem with all the toxins coming into our body. You got psychological stress that activates the same inflammatory pathways as a physical injury. This is why I'm saying perceived threat. So if somebody's just amped and up like all the time and anxious all the time, that's psychological. It's not always physical, right? So that has the same impact on our bodies as something physical as well. So it's not just one type of stress. Stress is the big umbrella for everything that I'm talking about. And the last one here is perceived lack of control is a stronger driver of inflammatory markers and actual workload. So for example, if we don't feel like we have the control over certain things that we want to have around our own health, around our own life, around how we're feeling, it can cause our inflammatory markers to be really, really, really high when in reality, nothing's actually going on. Are you guys with me? Is everything I'm saying making sense so far? Yeah. Are there any questions? No? You just want this guy to hurry up and get out? Hey. I'm only joking, guys. You can laugh. It's all right. Now, this is the vicious cycle that most people I deal with find themselves in. Chronic inflammation is like the umbrella, but it can be caused by these 4 things. For most people I deal with, it's a combination of all 4, if at least 2 or 3 out of the 4. I have the unfortunate pleasure, and I say that when I say unfortunate, of dealing with people at the worst end of their health, when they've got no other option but to do something. And they come to me and I got all these problems and I go, Anth, can you help me? Of course I can help you. And I want to help you. But the only question I ask is, are you willing to help yourself? Because if you're not, the conversation with me is going to fall on deaf ears. I can make anybody in this room feel better in the next 3 months. I guarantee you. I can transform you so physically and mentally in the next 3 months if you put the work in with me though. Right? That's what I say to anybody that comes into my gym. No matter what walk of life they're from, if you're willing to put the work in, just like anything else, you reap the rewards. Right? The way I do it though, is I simplify the whole process. I don't get you doing 20 different things in one day. That's impossible to maintain, so why even start it? We do it very simple, in a manner that's designed to work with you as an individual, with your life and your goals. And so, when we look at the omega-3 to 6 battle, 6 to 3 imbalance problem, this is actually quite a big problem because this is one of the key drivers to chronic inflammation. And going back to one of the earlier things I said, chronic inflammation is linked to cardiovascular disease, right? It's linked to things like type 2 diabetes, arthritis, dementia. It's linked to all these things that we are scared of. But the beautiful thing about understanding this ratio is that you have the power now to prevent it and potentially resolve it if you're willing to make a simple change in your life, which I can talk to you about at the end if you want to talk to me about it further. We have the evolutionary ratio. So from a DNA perspective, we're born with a 1-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. Think of omega-6 as your pro-inflammatory, your inflammatory stuff, and omega-3 is your anti-inflammatory. Anybody ever heard of fish oil? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Anybody ever heard of a benefit of fish oil being as an anti-inflammatory agent? Yeah? There's a question mark on that. And the reason why I say that is because of the quality of the fish oil that you get. That's a very big thing to understand. And nobody in this room, and I guarantee you 98% of the population in this country aren't having wild caught fish at least 2 to 3 to even 4 times a week, which means that we're getting very minimal, if any, 0 omega-3. Okay, it's very important to understand that omega-3 is an essential nutrient. 2 parts to that. 1, we need it. 2, our body doesn't make it. Right, so we need to be getting it daily, if not 3 to 4 times a week for general health and well-being. Not because of what fish does, it's because of what omega-3 does. Okay, now if we look at from our science perspective, we can get away with a ratio of 3 to 1. 3 parts omega-6, 1 part omega-3. Because remember I was saying before, the acute inflammation, we need some inflammation, we just don't need this inflammation being on for years and years and years and years and years. And that just breaks down our body. Chronic inflammation is quite damaging. Ever heard of the person or ever heard of anybody that otherwise looked healthy but had a random heart attack? You're like, how did that person have a heart attack? Chronic inflammation, it destroys your arteries over time. Anybody that you saw that was healthy and they got diagnosed with cancer, you're like, how did they get diagnosed with cancer? They were healthy. This is one of the leading causes to that is chronic inflammation. One of the leading causes, not the only, but one. It breaks down our immune system so bad over time. Yeah, I'm glad I've got some of your attention now. When we have the omega-6 and omega-3 balance, when you have a good balance here, your anti-inflammatory balance, you have that balance there. So you got the information when you need it, then you have the off signals when you need it as well, which is very important for long-term health. When we have optimal cellular function, picture our cells like a hard ball. If that cell is quite hard on the outside, no good nutrition that we give ourselves can ever get in and enter the cell and have the positive impact we want, but also the wastage can't get out either. If we have what we term as optimal cellular function, that hard outside layer becomes very soft, which means absorption is better and getting rid of waste becomes better as well. That's quite important because we can take the good, get rid of what we don't need. When the waste builds up, it causes toxicity in our systems, right? If you look at the right-hand side of the screen, the modern Western diet, we're sitting, if we've got an optimal ratio of 3 to 1, most of the world sits at 15 to 20 to 1. When I did my omega-6 to 3 balance test 3 years ago, anybody want to have a guess what I came back at? Throw a number, throw a ratio. So something to 1. Throw a number out there.
20 to 1.
I was 19 to 1, you were close. I was 19 to 1. I was 15 kilos heavier and I wasn't muscle. I wasn't proud of the tire sitting along here, right? And I didn't feel good. I run a gym, I run a fitness business. I transform lives. And I wasn't able to do the thing I was telling people to do because something wasn't right in my body. It wasn't my dieting or my nutrition. It wasn't my training. All that stuff, that's what I do. It's part of my DNA. It's what I love to do. It was this. Once I tested and resolved this, in 6 months, I dropped that back down from 19 to 1 to 2.3 to 1. All I did was just improve in this ratio by taking a really, really good supplement and testing for that at month 1 and month 6. Everything else I did worked itself out better because the root cause problem that my body was suffering from, I fixed it. You guys with me? Mm-hmm. Omega-6 fats come from things like seed oils, processed foods, and they produce pro-inflammatory compounds in our system, which I'm pretty sure all of you guys understand that, yeah? Mm-hmm. Omega-3, in particular EPA and DHA, they're the two parts to omega-3. EPA is all focused on cardiovascular health, systemic inflammation. DHA has a really good impact on the brain. Okay, in particular, bringing down what we term as neuroinflammation, which is inflammation of the brain, which is quite important for those people that have any kind of mental health problems, PTSD, people that have gone through concussions, right? A lot of rugby league players I work with, ex-rugby league players I work with, and I get them on a certain supplement that I use with omega-3. The DHA helps their brain calm down with that inflammation, which means that their ability to transition back into like normalness and stop having these PTSD attacks, it gets better. Now that's the worst case of it all. So anybody else is not that bad. Imagine how much of a better impact it's going to have when their baseline is a lot higher. You guys with me? And the last one here, most people have no idea what their omega balance is, and it requires a simple blood test to measure. I do these for all my clients. We do what we call as a dry spot blood test. Prick the finger, a couple of drops of blood on a pad. I package it up. I send it off to my lab that I get everything tested at. Within 2 or 3 weeks, I got this ratio back. So-and-so is at 19 to 1 or 15 to 1, or someone's at 6 to 1 or 25 to 1. Had a girl yesterday, 65 to 1. She was skinnier than me, right? So you don't, just because somebody looks healthy doesn't mean that internally they are healthy, right? And now we've got not a long way, but we've got a road ahead of us because all these symptoms that she's feeling make sense now because of where she's at. You guys with me? And every single one of you in this room, I would recommend get yourself understanding this concept first, because this is like the baseline that everybody should understand. Right? The company that I work with put a test together, a research paper together, sent it to all the health organizations or health departments of every government in the world. Right? Because on your general blood test, you go to your GP, this isn't on it. They want to make this a part of the mandatory testing because it does test for a thing called CRP, which is C-reactive protein, which is one of the inflammation markers that we can look at, but that doesn't tell us enough. They put this on top of that mandatory blood test. There's a lot you can do very easily, straight away, to improve your quality of life from the get-go. You guys with me? Now, the company that I work with is Zenzino, and they test for inflammation. Very simple 3-step process. You test for your omega-6 to 3 ratio. You get your baseline score. I go through this with all my clients and my customers, and then there's a targeted protocol that we follow. And the reason why this is so important is because we test it to see if there's something wrong. If there is something wrong, we've got the answer for you. And the wrong is the inflammation, is the omega-6 to 3 ratio. Yeah? Is there any questions so far? Cool. Pretty straightforward, right? Now, we want to look at fixing your sleep foundation. Who here, when you read this, does any of these? Quick, just give me a quick show of hands. Any of them? 1, 2, 3, beautiful. Which one do you do, my man?
Temperature.
Yep, so you have your room around that nice, comfortable position for yourself, Tom. Anybody else? Anything in particular here?
I don't really drink much alcohol.
Define much.
That would be me.
That's me too.
Which one?
Alcohol.
You don't or you do?
I don't.
Cool. So you don't have alcohol at all? Or most of the time?
Most of the time.
Good.
Everything else I do.
You do?
Yeah.
And how do you sleep?
Very badly.
Yeah? Do you mind elaborating a little bit? Are you comfortable? Just like, so when do you fall asleep and then struggle staying asleep? Or do you struggle to fall asleep? Which one?
I struggle to fall asleep. I do wake up. Sometimes I struggle to go back to sleep. Sometimes
Yeah, so most of the time people either do one of two things. They struggle to fall asleep. And then if they do fall asleep, they'll get up to maybe go to the bathroom or get some water. And then when they go to lay back down, their brain's on, their body's up, and they're like, oh, shit. And they're just stuck there for like an hour or two, right? There's ways you can go about this. Supplementation is a really cool thing to do and a very easy thing to do as well, right? The EPA, DHA, the omega-3, that's great because it improves your serotonin signaling. Your serotonin is a neurotransmitter that helps calm you. So that's really good. The other ones you can use as well are things like magnesium glycinate, which is fantastic for you. Okay, magnesium glycinate, do not go to your chemist warehouse and get any magnesium. Because if you look at the back and you say magnesium oxide, you're taking something that your body can't even absorb. And you literally just wait, it just comes through you. There's no good from that. You must specifically look for magnesium glycinate because there's a term called bioavailability that these supplement companies don't want you to understand. And bioavailability means how well your body absorbs what you're taking. Magnesium glycinate has the highest bioavailability of any magnesium out there. So if you buy a straight magnesium glycinate, so much better for you. Take 2 or 3 of the capsules before bed, you have a much better sleep. Right? If you want to go even harder, which is what I do, I take a couple of other supplements that just downregulate my nervous system on top of the magnesium, and I don't move a muscle from 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. So that 7 hours for me is good quality sleep. So when my alarm wakes up, I can actually wake up and rock and roll. And I get to my gym at 4:30, I prepare everything for my team starts at 5 a.m, my clients rock up at 5 a.m, and I'm like buzzing, and they're like, what do you want? Get out of my face, right? But I'm ready to go because I got people to serve. I got people to support, right? And I do my 15, 16 hour days, and I've been doing that for a very long time. The only way I can get through that, right, is by sleep. It starts with your sleep. Nothing else will matter if your sleep's off. So if you can start fixing your sleep, anything else that you may want to improve on, when it comes to your overall health, your well-being, your lifestyle, your energy, how you look, how you feel, that will become just that much easier for you if you fix the sleep. All right? It's always been number one. And I will always push that as number one. No supplements, you can't out-supplement a poor lifestyle. You can't out-diet a poor lifestyle. You can't out-exercise a poor lifestyle. You can't. No peptides are going to work for you, nothing. Nothing will fix your body better than the foundational stuff. And then the foundational stuff for a reason, because they're backed and supported by science for as long as we've been alive for. Make sense? Now, if you struggle with trying to get good sleep, maybe you need to have a discussion with me after this talk. And we can organize a proper discussion, one-on-one, to fix just some of the foundational stuff for you. And then we go from there.
Is that the same for omega-3? Like, is there like specific omega-3 tablets? That
You ready? You ready to hear?
All of them.
Omega-3s, in an ideal world, we get all of our essential nutrients, magnesium, omega-3, protein, creatine. Remember the term essential nutrients? What does it mean? Anybody was listening? 2 parts. So there's 2 parts to being an essential nutrient. We need it and we don't.
We don't make it.
Thank you. So creatine we don't make, we need that, especially for women, brain health, amazing. Protein we don't make, everybody needs it. Omega-3 we don't make, we need it daily. And magnesium is another one that we don't make that we need daily. The way the world has gone with all these big companies, they always put profits over people, right? So when we look at magnesium, the ideal scenario from us getting it from nature back in like the 1800s, before the mid-1900s, was we get our magnesium from our soil. If you look at farming and agriculture now, what are they doing with the same soil? Just turning it over. If it grows, it grows. If it doesn't, we'll just find something else. There's no nutrients or essential nutrients in that soil, or minerals, so to speak, in that soil. So we're not getting magnesium from the source. Supplementation of magnesium has become a big thing because of that reason. supplements in general have become a big thing because of that reason. So when we look at omega-3s, from the source would be from where? From where though? The ocean. What do we have most of the time now with fish? We've got wild caught fish, and then we have another term. Farmed fish. Farmed fish, 0 omega-3. It's not just me. Go look it up if you don't believe me. 0 omega-3 in farmed fish. In the ideal scenario, we get omega-3 from the source. And from the source, when we get it from nature, omega-3 is bound to what's termed as a polyphenol. Has anybody ever heard of that term before? Polyphenols are very high in olive oil. That's why olive oil is so healthy for you. A polyphenol is a protective coating over the omega-3. And the reason for that is because omega-3 is very susceptible and very sensitive, I should say, to light, to heat, and to oxygen. So now go think about the manufacturing companies that make your fish oil capsules, and you get the extra 25% for free at Chemist Warehouse. You think you got a good deal. It's a double negative. And the reason why I say that is you're wasting money on something that doesn't work. And if the compound of omega-3 is designed to make you anti-inflammatory, if you're having an omega-3 supplement that hasn't got that polyphenol to it, and therefore more inflammation is there in your system because the omega-3 runs rancid, causes more inflammation when it's exposed to light, heat, and oxygen, do you think you're going to get this anti-inflammatory effect from your Chemist Warehouse fish oil tablets? What are you going to get? Pro-inflammatory effect, or essentially nothing. Again, double negative. Wasting your money on something that doesn't work. So, great question before, Danny, about where do you get omega-3s from? Is it the same concept? Yeah, it is. This is the biggest reason why I love this company and Zinzino and their balance oil. Okay? These guys have understood that we get omega-3 from nature. In an ideal scenario, everything that we need from our essential nutrients and minerals should be from nature. But in the current landscape that we live in, it's pretty much impossible. So they've understood this. So they've understood that polyphenols are very important to bind back to the high concentration of EPA, DHA, which is your omega-3. Right? Now from there, they've actually done this really successfully and really uniquely, where they've rebound the polyphenol with the omega-3. So when you're getting this balanced oil, you're getting the liquid version of a wild caught fish. I have over 200 people using this product, and all of them have said really good stuff. I've been using it for 12 months before I recommended it to people to make sure that it was good stuff. Right? This is the biggest reason why that 19-to-1 ratio went down to 2.3-to-1, because that was the only thing I added on top of my already healthy lifestyle on paper. Right? My autoimmune disease symptoms have gone. Right? My mum's arthritis pain, gone. My dad's neck arthritis, gone. My brother's staph infection, gone. My sister-in-law's endometriosis, gone. Right? I can keep going. Do you want me to keep going? It works. And when I mean it works, it works as long as you do the... Thank you. Someone's awake. Thank you.
Barely.
Am I that boring?
It's just warm in here.
It's freaking hot in here.
All right, so I want to just continue on. I won't be too much longer, by the way, guys. I do appreciate your time. Where are we? Sorry. Let me just make sure I'm on the right thing. Yep, yeah, cool. Now, all right, managing the stress-inflammation connection. So I spoke about the fact that there's a huge connection between stress and inflammation, right? So I spoke about all the bad things. Let me show you how simple and easy it is for you to fix it. Okay? Strength training. Who here goes to the gym? Awesome. Train with weights?
Yeah.
Beautiful. This is going to be a really big thing for you to manage your stress a lot better. If you're not going to the gym, start going. Consider going. If you don't know which one to go to, I have a really good one just down the road in Kingsgrove. And the reason why I say this, I love strength training, not because of the physical attributes that you see in a gym. If any of you look at a gym like it's a place you go to punish yourself because you don't like how you look, start reframing how you see the gym. Because that's the worst thing you can think of when it comes to a gym. The gym for me is so much more about the internal stuff that it does, mentally and physically, over the external. Because anybody who looks great externally, right, 9 times out of 10 has really good internal health. Strength training is shown to reduce cortisol reactivity over time. It improves a lot of the way in which our brains function and process information and deal and manage stress, but also it increases our GABA. GABA is a neurotransmitter which allows our brain to calm down. People supplement on GABA who have diagnosed anxiety. Right? That's how great GABA is for calming you. But if you can do it naturally by doing some strength training, double in. Instead of it being a double negative, like I was mentioning before, this is a double positive, right? EPA, so omega-3 and cortisol. EPA and DHA supplementation has been shown to blunt that adrenaline spike and that huge cortisol spike that most people get when they're highly inflamed and stressed. And those individuals who have any kind of mental stress on them, all right, it has a really good positive impact, especially that DHA. Remember I was mentioning neuroinflammation? DHA is amazing for that. We look at nature exposure. Who goes outside 5, 10, 20 minutes? You should try your absolute best to just go for a walk. Like the best thing. So I live around the corner, literally around the corner. I'm at Kylon like 4 days a week, right? The best thing about this, where you guys work, there's a freaking park just down there. I lie, there's a park just down there, right? If you can go on your lunch break, if you have one, they should have a lunch break, right? Yeah. Go down. Go down and just, if you can, 10 minutes, sit in nature. I know sometimes it's a bit cold outside. Put a jacket on. Sit in nature. The greenery, the oxygen. You will feel 1,000 times better. But what it does psychologically and physically for this is huge. Human beings are made to be in nature. You know that, right? Yeah? My family makes fun of me because I did the whole earthing thing. Shoes off, on the grass, barefoot. They're like, oh, here we go. This guy, he's doing this thing again. But I know how good it's going to make me feel. I'll do the weird stuff knowing it makes me feel good because I'd rather feel good more often than feeling not. And anybody can make fun of me as much as they like, but I'm the one feeling good here. So it doesn't bother me. When it comes to boundaries and load management, this is a big one because everybody's situation is different. There's no blanket coat way to do things in life. But I want to give you guys a framework or something you can take away and implement yourselves in your own way. Like I said at the start, if I can give you one thing today that you can walk away with and implement to improve your life, done. You know what I mean? When it comes to boundaries and load management, the perceived loss of control is a stronger predictor of inflammatory markers than actual workload. And what that means, if you're finding that you can't control specific situations or specific things or even your own health, that's going to cause you more stress than any workload that you need to do. Because nobody likes to feel like we're out of control, yes or no? We like to feel like we have some control, at the very least, over ourselves. And when we feel like we haven't got control over that, it can lead to more stress down the road because we feel like we're losing. And I say this so confidently because I hear this a lot. Okay? When we look at breath work, diaphragmatic breathing is a fancy term for saying breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your mouth. It activates your diaphragm, which is down here. If we stress breathe, does anybody know what stress breathe is? Right? Here. That's all. You know, someone's wake up, we have tight traps, tight neck. I slept wrong. No, you didn't. You were breathing poorly. When we do enough of that stress breathing, things tighten up. Our body does this. If we breathe in through our nose, instantly we relax. Everyone sit up for me. Sit up. Or stand up, whatever you want. Stand up, yeah, even better. Cool. Now, once you guys just sit there and just close your eyes for 5 seconds, just listen to what my instructions. Nothing's going to happen, I promise you. Close your eyes, I promise you, just close your eyes. Now, breathe in through your nose, 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. 1, 2. Breathe out through your mouth now, 5 seconds. All right, now go again through your nose, 5 seconds in through your nose. Keep your eyes closed. Cheetah! Cheetah! Keep your eyes closed, breathe in through your nose. Hold it. Now breathe out through your mouth, 5 seconds as well. Get all the air out, all the air out. Good. Now just slowly open up your eyes. Do you guys feel a little bit better? Yeah? See that? All you did there. That hurt. Did you expand here? This could be why. But the thing is, that breath work, imagine doing that when you wake up in the morning. Imagine doing that before you go to bed. Right? I do this breath work before I do these talks, and I might sound funny. I sit in the car for 5 minutes, close my eyes. I feel sorry for anybody driving past me or walking past me because I look like the biggest weirdo. What you guys did, I do that. And the reason why I do that is so I'm calm. Because I get nervous before I do these talks. I always want to present well. So the only way for me to be aware of what I'm doing and aware of what I'm saying is to calm myself. So I do that, and it helps. I do it after I train. A couple of minutes, it helps. I definitely do it before I go to bed because it helps. If you can spend 5 minutes, if you're having a really stressful day, here's your tip for the day. If you're having a really stressful day and you want to punch somebody out or put a hole in a wall, which is most of us most days, spend a minute just breathing. You will deal with whatever comes your way just that little bit better. You really will. Okay, remember, you can't control anybody else external from you, but you can control you, which gives you less, which gives you more control over you and less stress coming through to you because you feel like you're losing control. You guys with me?
Punching things seems more fun.
It does, hey. Well, I used to box. I love whacking the bag. So maybe that could be a reason for you to just put a boxing bag up and just belt it out.
Start punching like that.
All right, now, the simple lifestyle audit. This is one of my favorite things to do with myself. I do this every 6 months with myself just to make sure I'm not losing, I'm not falling off track. Because life does happen. Right, I got a 2-year-old, I run 2 businesses, I've got a team I look after. There's a lot of things pulling me left, right, and center. So I'm sure that there's different things that pull all of you left, right, and center in any way. Nobody's life or stresses or things or responsibilities is more important than the next. So never ever do the comparison because everybody's stress is relative. Yeah, everybody's responsibilities are relative. Okay? What was important to me at 16 years old used to stress me out, makes me feel the same way now as I'm 35. 2 different lives, 2 different things, but still the same feeling. So nothing is worse or more important or less important than anybody else's. But I do this audit every 6 months. And the reason why I do it is because I want to make sure that I have good health. I got people that depend on me from a professional point of view and from a personal point of view. So for me to know that I'm doing the best for not only them, but for myself, I need to ask myself some honest questions. All right? These are the things that I do to look after my gut health. These are the things I do to look after my sleep. These are the things I do to look after my stress. And that's it. And I just order them every 6 months. Because when you keep yourself accountable in any way, you're more likely going to make better decisions, yes or no? Right? And that's it. Because when you keep it front of mind, you start becoming aware of your decisions. That extra Coke, that extra KFC meal, right? That extra, I don't know, Uber Eats meal, right? Maybe not skipping breakfast, right? Maybe thinking that if you eat less, you're going to lose weight, but then you end up starving and you overeat at night, and then you end up going through this vicious cycle, which is what 98% of my clients present to me when they come into my gym. Maybe it could be going for that walk after you eat on your lunch break, as opposed to kicking your feet up and watching Netflix on your phone before you go back to work, right? Maybe it could be going outside, getting a bit of fresh air. Something as simple as that could make such a big difference to the long-term version that you want to be of yourself. And then imagine, this is a small office, right? All of you guys are in each other's faces all day. Yeah? Imagine everybody here's got just another 5% better energy. Just imagine. No, I'm not saying you guys don't work well together. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying either anybody in this room is bad at what they do. I'm not saying that. But imagine, as an individual, you have 5% better energy. Just 5. Or 10. 15, 20% better energy. Now think about how you would feel, and think about the person you'd be giving off to the other person that works right near you. I'm sure you guys have a great relationship. That's great. Let's keep that though, right? But what I'm saying is, as individuals, 1 or 2 of these things improve, you become exponentially better without even realizing. These are little things. These are big things that can shift your body and your health, mentally and physically, the way that we all want to. Because everybody wants to be the best version of themselves. But sometimes we get stamped down by life so hard, or stamped down by circumstances so hard, that we just feel like there's no point. What for? I'll tell you what for. Think about what's important to you. That's what for. To me, that's where it begins, and that's where it ends. Without trying to get too deep with it all, right? That's where it begins, that's where it ends. It's not about anybody else or anything else other than what you believe is important to you and the impact you have on those things. So, if your career is important to you, if your job is important to you, if your relationships are important to you, if your family, your friends, your health, if they're important to you, what you do should reflect that. And if it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It just means that you maybe need to do a bit of an audit and see where you fell off and see if you get yourself back on. That's it. I don't get emotional with your stuff. I don't need people to give me reasons as to why they couldn't. There's 1,000 reasons why I can't do some of the things that I should be doing. But do we focus on the why we can't, or do we focus on it's okay, life happened, let's get back on track. And that's it. Right? I have my father, 62 years old. For 3 years, sat upright to sleep because he couldn't move his neck because of arthritis. Do you know how happy it made me? No, I already fixed that for him before anybody else did. It just took him 62 years to listen to his son. Right?
Not quite.
Yeah, he's 62.
Yeah, but you're not 62. So
It took him 35 years to listen to his son. Took him 62 years to get into a gym.
Maybe it's 34 because you would have spoken when you were.
I speak to him a lot, don't worry. It took him 62 years to get into a gym. It took him 32 years, I'll give it to you, 32 years to actually listen to his son. There you go. But the point of what I'm trying to get at, he got into the gym finally, no pain, sleeps better. Guess what? Him and my mum don't punch on every day, right? He's happier, he's got better energy, he's losing a bit of weight. Pardon? Yeah, he's losing a bit of weight. He listens to me when it comes to his supplements. He takes the glycinate, the magnesium glycinate, the balance oil, did the test, right? Came back with a worse ratio than I did. And guess what? He's a grandfather who gets on the floor now with his grandson and plays. He does the stuff that makes him happy. Yeah, he works corporate. He works in a very big company in the city, stressed out, 70 hours a week, just like everybody in this room, works a lot, but he can manage it so much better. Yeah, he's looking at retirement, which is great. But what happens to most people when they retire?
You stop moving.
And what happens then? They get sick, which is upsetting because you worked all your, I'm going to swear, all your fucking life just to not work and then get sick and then lose all that quality of life. That's not a life. But do you know why that happens? Because human beings are built, we run on adrenaline. We go. As soon as we stop, right, the body finally has an opportunity to heal because the body's always looking for ways to heal. That's how we keep getting through our day, irrespective of how we feel. The body's looking for a way to heal, but it realizes that there's so many things going on internally with our health. Once that information comes down, the body's got a chance to heal, then the problems start to present because there's no support. The body's got no support to heal. Are you guys with me? This is where it gets scary. So when we're in our 20s, I'm fine or whatever, I'm good. If I talk to a 20-year-old or 25-year-old about this stuff, they look at me like, are you done? Anybody who's a bit older, who's experienced stuff, I got their ears because life has taught them a few lessons. I'm trying to get people to avoid the hard lessons by being proactive, not reactive. That's all, right? And have I mentioned anything about doing 20 different things? 1, 2, 3 things that you guys can be able to maintain if you want to. Now, the thing people always ask me is, which one do I do first? Like there's all these things you spoke about, where do I start? This is where the audit comes into play. You can start there, or which lever do you pull first? So think about some of the symptoms that you have, right? If a big focus for you might be fixing your sleep first, right? Like I said earlier, the foundational stuff is always the most important. So if you're struggling to get good sleep, let's look at that. You can, if you want to feel waking up, if you're waking up so unrefreshed, poor energy, and you've got mood issues, look at your sleep schedule, your light management, and maybe even melatonin hygiene. Melatonin hygiene, anybody ever heard of what melatonin is? It's a hormone that our brain releases before we're supposed to go to bed. But it only releases it when we're in a dark room. Right? And the thing about the TV, the phone, before bed, to wind down, to switch off, you're not switching anything off. You're switching everything on. Yeah, you keep everything switched on because you're blocking what we term as melatonin production. Because there's the blue light, which is the screens, for example, hits your eyeballs, that stimulates the brain, no production there because the brain's like, I'm awake. Then it takes you 2 hours after that to fall asleep because now your brain's starting to recognize I'm in a dark room, then it can start producing the melatonin, then it hits the brain. You guys with me? So how do you avoid that? There's 2 options. No screens half an hour before you go to bed. Temperature controlled room, Tom, good job, and dark room. Like pitch black ideally. The other option for you, which is what I do, if I like to watch something before I go to bed and wind down, blue light blocking glasses. Ever heard of them? Yeah? I get these ones from Bunnings. They look like tradie glasses. They're just big fat glasses with the orange lens, right? It blocks the blue light out. Do not go on Google and look up blue light blocking glasses because I'll sell you a pair of glasses with a plastic lens for like $200. There's no point doing that. Go to Bunnings, get the orange ones for like $5. You're good to go. It has the same effect. If you want to make it even darker, you can get red cellophane, put it over the orange lens. That's it, right? What I've done as well, and my wife laughs at me, I've got an orange colored light bulb. So orange colored light bulb, put it in my lamp in my room. At night, that's the only color that's on. Just calms everything. It's the best, absolute best. No supplementation needed. Natural production of something that your body can make as long as you support it to do so. That's it. Or the other option, if that's too much for you guys, dim the lights. Or have everything off, get a nice candle, put it on. Simple ways, easy ways, yeah? To allow you to encourage your body to sleep better. That's it. Then you know what will happen the next morning? You wake up feeling better. Wake up feeling more refreshed. You can take on the day. All the crap that's going to follow you in your day, which it does in our days, you deal with that better. Yeah? Because you've got more what we term as resilience. Yeah? There's a saying that a doctor that I follow said once, if you had a shit day and you're highly stressed, sleep it off. Not so you can forget it, so your body can recover from it. Yeah? Understand that. Sleep is not just for energy. Sleep is repair. Sleep is like, when I talk about the most important aspect of a human's life and their health, if sleep's not there, question everything. Sleep first. Everything else can come better. Becomes better after. If you're somebody who's highly stressed out, look at that. You can do your breath work. HRV training is a bit over the top. If you're training, you can reduce the load in the gym. So don't go as heavy, don't push yourself as much if your body's struggling to recover. If you're highly stressed, that's the way that we manage stuff, right? But breath work is really important. You spend 10 seconds doing that breathing exercise, maybe a little bit more. And some of you are like, oh, okay, maybe he's onto something, right? That's one of the easiest things that you can do, right? I do it a lot. Because if I don't, I'm 1,000 miles an hour here, which means I can't focus on what I need to do. Does anybody feel like they're doing a task and then they get sidetracked into another task and they get sidetracked to something else and they get sidetracked? That's because we can't focus on one thing at a time sometimes. The breath work allows you to focus on that one thing a lot better because you're zoned, you're calmer, and you can actually see what's in front of you, deal with it better. The last thing I like to always talk about as well is testing first. The reason why I'm a big fan of testing first is because it takes the emotion out. I feel this, I think I might be that, I think I might have this. I had a guy tell me yesterday, I think I got this problem with me. I said, just don't think about nothing. Let's do the test first. Because the test will tell you, right? And if you ever want to do that dry spot blood test, I'm happy to swing back past here and do it for you here, and then tell you what the answers are when the results come in. And if that just takes away any kind of uncertainty or feelings of being unsure, because when you get the black and white answers, and it either says, hey, look, there is a problem here, this is a result of, or can kind of make you understand why you're feeling how you're feeling, or hey, your omega-3 to 6 balance, for example, is great. Whatever you think that you might have, you don't have to worry about that because the test is showing that you're actually okay. So it takes the worry out, it takes the I feel out, it gives you more black and white data. I don't know about you guys, but when I have data to work with, I make better decisions because you're more precise. Now, I want to look at the evidence at a glance before I kind of finish up. Now, these are all key findings that are underpinning today's framework of what I spoke about. Okay, I do a lot of research. Like when I mean a lot, I spend a good 20 hours a week researching because I want to get smarter, but I want my clients to be able to learn so many more cool things that I can do with their health. But I love to connect the dots. Okay, like every day there's something new coming out, which is amazing, right? So 21% in reduction in cortisol with 20 minutes in nature. So your cortisol that comes down when you get outside. 50% melatonin suppression from blue light exposure at night. So on the screens, you get a lot less exposure, a lot less production of that melatonin, which is that natural release into your brain when you're watching screens very close to that bedtime. 5.6 times more likely or greater risk of infection with under 5 hours of sleep. So think about our immune system, yeah? If anybody just that you know is always getting sick, is there one or two people in your life that always kind of got the flu? This time of the year comes, they get better, they get sick, take antibiotics, get better, but then like a couple of weeks later, they're getting sick again. This could be a reason. Their immune health is just not good. The body hasn't had time to heal. Don't forget, the body's always looking for opportunities to heal. Here, targeted omega-6 to 3 ratio. When you have that 3-to-1, it's associated with anti-inflammatory, the ability for your body to be more anti-inflammatory and manage inflammation better. We're not talking about eliminating stress. We're not talking about eliminating inflammation. We can't. It's impossible. We're going to get it. Let's manage it better. Let's not look at elimination. Let's look at management of it better. 70% of your immune tissue resides in your gut. So the better your gut health, the better your immune health. And the last one here, with Zenzino, 120 days, you can shift your omega-6 to 3 ratio dramatically. And you're going to improve if you trust on that science-based stuff. Now, a lot of you probably aren't missing the effort. A lot of you probably care enough to make a decision today to do something for yourself, all right? When you fix the foundation stuff that I mentioned, you fix your health. And before I finish, I just want to say a big thank you to all of you for your time. I do appreciate it. I know you guys are busy and you took the hour out to come and listen to this Arab talk to you, but I do appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
And listen to me all day, every day.
So,
Promise.
if you want to speak a little bit more with me personally about some of the stuff that I mentioned, I'm going to hang here for a few more minutes. Just pop your number and your email down and your name, and I'll be able to reach out to you tomorrow to organize a proper conversation with you. But other than that, thank you guys so much. I do appreciate your time. Thank you. Have a nice afternoon. Thank you very much.